So out of all of the DC Extended Universe films, Man of Steel got mixed reception, Batman v Superman was hated, Suicide Squad was mixed. Now everyone was hoping, can Wonder Woman finally be the one to give them the shot in the arm they need? And by God, they have succeeded. Now, during this movie, this is Wonder Woman, and this is her second live-action theatrical film featuring the titular character, following her debut in the 2016 Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. But this is the first true female superhero movie that's really well known, at least. I'm pretty sure they've made female superhero movies, but they were so small that no one remembers them. I'm just guessing on that. But, yeah, like a lot of people had hoped or assumed that Black Widow would be the first character to get a female role movie before Wonder Woman, considering the momentum that DC, the Extended Universe, was on. And Marvel was on this high, and the Russo brothers have said they want to make a Black Widow movie, so let's just do it. Do it, man. Do it. Now, also, Patty Jenkins is also the first female director of a studio superhero comic book live-action movie. And this was a major big deal to a lot of people because, hey, women are getting recognition. They're going to be directing a major movie like this. And because even in Marvel, all the directors have been men. So this was kind of a big deal to a lot of people. So, yeah, I was hoping that this could be the shot in the arm it gets, because I want this universe to succeed. But if they can't get Wonder Woman right, then they should just call it quits. Like, the Batman movie's already in trouble because Ben Affleck's no longer directing, and while they do have the director of War for the Planet of the Apes, which has been said to be a great movie, yeah, a lot of people, especially the studio most likely, are going to say, you need to be like Christopher Nolan. You got to be like Christopher Nolan. And also, we got to make a Joker look like Heath Ledger again. Even though Heath Ledger's dead and Christopher Nolan is not even involved in the project, but because Batman The Dark Knight trilogy was so successful that it's clouded their long-term focus. At least in my mind. So they had to make some changes, like Steve Trevor. Like, originally he was a U.S. spy. He was a spy during World War II, but this takes place in World War I, so they changed that up. And I'm not complaining. Like, I get it. It's a movie. They're gonna have to change some things. And World War II, considering what they were trying to tell here in this movie, I think I can get why they changed it from World War II to World War I. Considering that this war, World War I, was at least more grayish, whereas World War II, you had a definitive black and white, mostly. Unlike the Allied forces still were Stalin, though they said they had a common enemy with Hitler, so, yeah. Also, this leads to a very confusing plot hole that I hope they address in the sequel that has been announced at the end of the movie, but, I'll get to that in a moment. Like, okay, this starts at the beginning in present-day Paris, where Diana, a.k.a. Wonder Woman... In fact, they never call her Wonder Woman in the movie. I thought they were going to make, like, a joke from one of the people saying, she's like a Wonder Woman, or something like that. But no. So, we get into the backstory of Wonder Woman, Diana, on the hidden island of Themyscira, home to the Amazonian woman race of warrior women created by Zeus to protect mankind. And, okay, like, before Steve Trevor arrives, I kept thinking, like, wait, I watched the Nostalgia Critics review. This does sound like a Disney movie. A frustrated princess who's wanting to do more in her life and wants to fight. And I'm like, if this keeps up, this is really going to be a Disney movie? Especially since she saved Steve Trevor and, like, Little Mermaid. So, yeah, I was like, okay, now I get why Nostalgia Critic went ahead and said this was like a Disney movie from one of the actresses reenacting the scene. And so, yeah, there's just one confusion I have. this island has been undetected by mankind for God knows how long, and I'm wondering, wait, I'm not an expert on this, but how the fuck did they not find it? Because it looks so simple at the beginning of the movie, like, oh, the island's invisible, but they could but planes would just fly through it. So did they just assume that there was just an island or something like that? Or did, like, yeah, like, I'm confused by this. Like, they make it so simple when they landed, when Steve Trevor crash landed into the ocean and the German ships coming in. So I'm like, wait, how did no one find this island if they could just go through it? Like, I thought the barrier was more stronger than that. They did not explain that. So, yeah, after Steve Trevor explains what's going on, by force, after the German forces have destroyed everybody, Wonder Woman believes that Ares is creating the war, and believes that also Dr. Poison's in this movie. So she's trying to engineer a deadlier version of the mustard gas under the orders of Eric Lindorf, a fictionalized version of the real guy, because in real life, Eric Lindorf opposed Hitler and died after Hitler became chancellor, and he died of liver cancer. But in this movie, he dies by Wonder Woman's hands. So Diana is this place that, like, there's a lot of questions at the beginning of the movie, and I'm surprised they didn't, like, address it, like, right then and there. They wanted to build it up. So, yeah. Diana is this wide-eyed character, an idealistic one who believes the story she's been told her whole life. In fact, when I think about it, the Queen, I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name, seems to be the complacent one. So I'm like, oh, you're kind of being complacent. So, yeah. So, Diana goes off after taking the Guy Killer sword. What a creative name. The lasso in her armor before leaving Themyscira with Steve to find and destroy Ares. And her mother goes ahead and says, "You will not be able to return." Which means she'll most likely return in Justice League, since there is word that there's a mother box there and we already know what the plot's going to be. So, yeah, and, okay, like, some people would be cynical with the DC Extended Universe, like, oh, she's a woman in 1918, so, yeah, they're clearly going to address the sexism and the whole, you must dress fancy and whatnot, fish out of water mentality. It was relatively quick. Yeah, they didn't go on it for long. They just, like, said, let's address it, then move on. Let's not overly address it. Let's move on from that. Yeah, and yeah, and she goes ahead, and Diana goes ahead, does this awesome scene after that, although forbidden by his commanders to act on the whole mustard gas crisis, Steve, with the secret funding of Sir Patrick, revealed later to be Ares, recruits spy Samir, marksman Charlie, and smuggler Chief to help prevent the gas from being released. When the team reaches the western front in Belgium, they are halted by the enemy lines. Diana, because she wants to help people, goes alone through no man's land and captures the enemy trench, allowing the Allied forces to help her liberate the village of Lead. The team briefly celebrates while Diana and Steve grow closer romantically and spend the night together. And the team learns a gala will be held at a nearby German high command. Steve and Diana each infiltrate the party, with Steve intending to locate the gas and destroy it, while Diana intends to kill Ludendorff, believing that he is Ares and killing him will end the war, because she's this wide-eyed belief that Ares is controlling the Germans and forcing humanity to fight amongst themselves. And, of course, that's not really the case. Steve stops her from jeopardizing the mission. Ludendorff then unleashes the gas in Veld and kills all the inhabitants. And they never address, how is she going through the gas? Is she immune to it? Like, I get she's a demigoddess, but yeah, they never ever explained that. So she's outraged and blames Steve for intervening, and Diana pursues Linendorf to a base where the gas is being loaded into a bomber aircraft for London. Diana fights and kills Linendorf after he ingested God pills. Yeah. Okay, I gotta ask, how the hell did that happen? Like, how did the hell did that happen? Because I'm wondering to myself, wait, what ingredients did you use, and why did you not give it to the German army, Dr. Poison? Yeah, I'm trying to wonder that. So, after Ludendorff is killed, Diana remains confused as to why his death did not stop the war. And then after she tries to talk to Steve Trevor about this, and just like him, and he believes that humans are capable of destruction, and showing that regarding how they're still good in the world and whatnot, blah 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 blah. Sir Patrick reveals himself as to be Ares, telling Diana that although he has subtly given human ideas an inspiration using Linendorf and Dr. Poison as pawns, revealing that it is ultimately their decision to cause the violence as they are inherently corrupted. Yeah, we're going with the idealistic concepts. So, yeah, also, there is one thing I was wondering. When Diana, like, okay, I get that Sir Patrick is trying. I have, like, Ares. Okay, I get he's disguised as Sir Patrick, but I was expecting, like, him to transform. Like, he's donning the armor of Ares, but I'm expecting him to, like, transform into his true self and just get rid of the sack of flesh he's posing in. But no, he's like this for the whole movie, and I'm like, I was expecting something more intimidating. So, yeah. She attempts to kill Ares with the God Killer sword, but he destroys it. Ares reveals Diana to be the God Killer as the daughter of Zeus and the queen of Themyscira, but he fails to persuade her to help him destroy humankind and to restore peace on Earth, or paradise. While the two battle of godly proportions, the others on Steve Trevor's team destroy Maru's laboratory, and Steve pilots the bomber carrying the gas to a safe altitude and detonates it, killing himself in the process. Ares attempts to direct Diana's rage and grief at Steve's death by convincing her to kill Dr. Maru as a way to say, or Dr. Poison, as if to say, yeah, you've lost your faith in humanity. But memories of her experience with Steve cause her to realize the humankind has good within it. She spares Dr. Poison and redirects Ares Lightning to him, surprisingly killing him. And afterwards, the team celebrates the end of the war, and then we get back to the present, where Diana sends an email to Bruce Wayne thanking him for bringing him back to her, and reaffirms her new mission to protect and give to the world. Okay, there is several questions I was wondering. How is the power of love defeating Ares? In fact, wait, what was the endgame plan for peace? Like, I get that Dr. Ludendorff was going to go ahead and destroy everything, but what would have happened if Dr. Poison's plan failed miserably? Yeah, I'm wondering what the hell was supposed to happen on that. So, yeah, also, Chris Pines, the person who plays, you know, Steve Trevor, he's supposed to be signed on for more movies. So, are they going to resurrect him or kill him off again? So, sorry. So, I'm wondering to myself, okay, what's the sequel? In fact, they don't mention what she does. In fact, afterwards, like, okay, I'm wondering, okay, so what happens next? Like, wouldn't Ares come back in the next conflict that breaks out? Because, let's be honest, conflict does break out, and Ares would grow stronger. That's at least what I heard from the comics. that Ares gets stronger and stronger every time when war breaks out and when there's conflict. So I'm wondering, does he come back in the sequel? Because it's been said that this takes place in the 1980s, the sequel. That's going to happen in 2019. So I'm wondering, wait, is he coming back? Because this doesn't really add up. Like, he's dead, so are you going to bring him back? And if so, can you make him more intimidating? And at the same time, I'm wondering, how do you top the God of War? Well, there is one way. Okay, in Greek mythology, there's another goddess that is married to the god of metalworking, but she's really in love with Ares. So, for all logic, you can go with the love it. Like, it's been said that Ares killed all the gods and goddesses during the war for Mount Olympus. But I'm getting the feeling like they might not do that. They might bring one of the goddesses back as the lover of Ares, even though she was married to the god of metalworking. Is she going to be the antagonist in the sequel? Because that would make sense, to me at least. So, I'm wondering, what are they going to do next? Also, why is this PG-13? Like, there's no blood in the movie. Which is confusing, like, they're in war and nobody's bleeding. Like, we see people losing... we see one guy without a leg, but that's not enough to warrant an R rating. I was like, okay, I get that this is a movie and whatnot, but come on, let's be real. If this was real life, which this is based off of World War I, even though it's a comic, shouldn't they have just gone ahead and added blood effects? So, yeah, I'm wondering what the hell's going on that. So, okay. I get the feel, I believe for a fact that Diana will head back to Themyscira, probably in Justice League, since at the end of the movie we get the team that Steve Trevor was with and his secretary, who Diana refers to as a slave because in her culture that's a different meaning for secretary, except the secretary gets paid. They reveal a mother box is their next location. Not Diana, she's not involved in this as far as I know. But the team is going to go to this unidentified location and are going to pretty much locate a mother box. So that's going to be interesting. Like, we're probably not going to see them again, but yeah. I'm pretty sure they're going to be mentioned in Justice League or the sequel to wonder what happened to them and what happened during this mission to locate the mother box. But yeah, Diana heading back to Themyscira, that's a guarantee. Either in the Justice League movie or in the sequel, I guarantee it. So, it's going to be interesting on that. So, I'm also wondering, okay, but like I said earlier, why is the power of love to defeat Ares happening? Are they really going for this? The power of love. Oh, man. So, yeah, I was confused on that for God knows how long. But I did enjoy this movie. It was the shot in the arm the DC Extended Universe really needed, especially after everything happening with the other movies. And Ares explaining how humanity is a corrupted seed and whatnot. Like, I get that because it's kind of obvious if in the real world that's obviously true. But oh man, I'm like, but there's one major thing I'm wondering. If Diana's the second movie, if Wonder Woman 2 is going to be taking place in the 1980s, what the hell happened in between them? Like World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, did that just fly by everybody? Like, if she did not do a thing, and especially since she's in France, and that fell under Nazi occupation. I'm like, they better explain what happened. So I'm curious as to know what's going to happen there. And this movie got some bit of controversy, like the all-women screening to promote feminism or something like that, and several bans because Gal Gadot served in the Israeli military, which I did not know, and they didn't need to make a big deal of that, in my opinion. But I get that this is politics and whatnot, so we have to go into, so we can't go into that. And those weren't the big controversies I heard until like a few days ago. Like, I didn't hear what the big deal was, but okay, like, here's what happened. Wonder Woman was banned in Libyan after the campaign to boycott supporters of Israel asked the Libyan's government minister of economy and trade to block the film because its star, Gal Gadot, had served in the Israeli military. However, there is a confusion here. The government did not ban Gal Gadot's role in of the Fast and Furious films, which did screen there. The Tunisian court suspended the theatrical release of Wonder Woman after a lawsuit was brought by Al-Chab Party and the Tunisian Association of Young Lawyers to have the film blocked due to Gadot's Israeli citizenship, military service, and public comments in the support of the Israeli military during the 2014 war in Gaza. Jordan was also reportedly considering a ban of the film and suspended screenings pending a decision, but on June 11th it was reported that the government decided not to do so as there was no legal precedent for it. Also, there was, like I said, women-only screenings, and some people weren't happy about that because with some opponents of the gender-restricted screen staying on the platforms such as Facebook, that screens were discriminatory against men. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that. But I'm not going into the political, social, economic way of how people perceive the movie. In fact, you want to know what the one controversy I heard about this movie? This movie, Gal Gadot Wonder Woman doesn't have armpit hair! You're kidding, right? That was the major takeaway of why this movie would be bad, because there's no armpit hair. What the fuck were you even thinking when you thought that? Like, no way they could have shaved it off or anything. No way. They have to put that in because she's a woman and she needs to be treated equally like the rest of us people. She can't just be absolutely, quote, perfect in every way, even though this is a movie and does exaggerations and not real life. Like, we don't see Wonder Woman flying around protecting people, even though people would really wish that was the case. So yeah, I'm like, wow, that's your biggest complaint, that there's no armpit hair on Wonder Woman? That's your biggest complaint? Oh god. I think that you're doing just fine with your life if you're that complaining. In fact, I'm surprised this wasn't even talked about on Wikipedia because it'd be hilarious if anyone read that. So Chris Pine is scheduled for more films, but I have no idea how they're going to do it. Probably flashback scenes, but really, how would they be able to tell flashback within a flashback within the story? I don't know. But Wonder Woman has become the shot in the arm the DC Extended Universe needs. Now we just need the magna opus, Justice League, to do well. But with the reshoots, the directorial issues, Zack Snyder's family losing a member, may she rest in peace. And I'm surprised no one has called out on Joss Whedon, like saying, "You were Marvel, you can't join them." Like, I was like thinking to myself, okay, when is the Marvel fanboys going to complain that a Marvel guy is directing a DC movie, or the DC fanboys complaining about a Marvel guy directing it, having a role in a DC movie? In fact, he's going to do Batgirl. So the sequel is scheduled for 2019 and is going to compete with Episode 9 of Star Wars, so we'll see who wins that war. And Patty Jenkins is back on to direct and write the movie. So I hope this movie I hope the sequel does well, but if I've learned anything, even if you have the same crew and Gal Gadot's scheduled to star in the movie as Wonder Woman again. But look at The Godfather Part 3. They had the same amount of people working on the project, and it still did not work out so well for them. So they need to do something great. Like, they could bring back Ares, or they could bring the lover of him, his lover who was married to the god Mel working. Like I said, I don't remember the names. So that's the only way I think the sequel's going to work out. Since it's said to take place in the 80s, so they had to really do something. And they need to address the whole what happened between after 1918 up to 1980. Like, did she do anything around that time? I hope she did, because if so, then they might as well just do Man of Steel again. So, yeah, those were my thoughts on DC Extended Universe Wonder Woman 2017 movie. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. For if you like, comment, subscribe, and donate, stay tuned for more.